In the latter half of the 1990s, the St. Charles Saints were simply divine, winning every state title championship game that they had the opportunity to play in. They've gotten good at the drill. They know how to win. They are very rarely beaten, and they get another chance tonight. However, as we move into the year 2000 and as the memories of the state championships are still there, this is the last shot for St. Charles girls soccer. The school splits up next year. This could be the Saints' last chance. The site is Naperville Central High School, and it is the 2000 IHSA Girls Soccer Championship, and we have a rematch of last year's title game as Lincoln Way takes on St. Charles. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Blaney along with Ed Bucinic, and we have a very interesting setup here, Ed, because we have two schools that are splitting campuses next year, so this is their last shot in their current form.
You know what, Jim, everybody wants to win a state championship, but because of what you just said, there's some added incentive.
Well, let's talk about Lincoln Way first, because they come in really as the challenger in this contest. And also they come in as the underdog, but they're very confident coming into this game.
They are a program that has developed very slowly over the last 3 years. They got to the Final 8 2 years ago. They got to the Final 2 last year. Now they want to win it all this year.
And especially it's important to them because they get a rematch. And not very many times in your life as a competitor, especially as a high school athlete, you not only get a chance to win a state title, but you also get a shot at the team that knocked you out last year.
Yeah, and it's happening tonight, and they've got some players that can handle it. Their team speed is one of the big things that Lincoln Way has going for them. Up front, they've got Kim Jedlow, little number 5. Every time she touches the ball, Brian Papa expects something exciting and dangerous to happen. She's up front. Now in the midfield, the girl that gets her the ball is Lulu Quigley. Great vision, great touch. She's able to slice defenses with balls out of the midfield and gets them to the forwards.
Although Quigley could be a bit of a question mark going into the game tonight because Brian Papa has some injuries to deal with on his club. And just a little while ago, Ed talked with the coach of the Knights about their injury problems.
Now, the St. Charles and Lincoln Way are very familiar with one another. You guys met last year in the state final, met earlier in the season. Talk about the loss in the state championship, the win earlier in the year, and what effects that might have going into this game.
Well, last year we came out here, and that was our first taste of being near a state champion, and we got beat up and down the field. We didn't get much for anybody to cheer about and you to talk about it, I'll tell you that. This year when we came in the first time, the girls were talking about it, and they were looking forward to it. It was early in the year. It was a non-conference game, so less pressure. They know it, they realize it, but we played very well in that game, and we did come up on top. This one, now it's for all the marbles, and the girls are focused. Everybody wants to play the best to be the best. I mean, I know, we're looking forward to playing them right now. We didn't care who we were going to play, but, if it happens to be St. Charles, let's put it on the field and let's go for it.
Brian, you're going to be dealing with.
All right, let's talk about St. Charles now because they come in trying to win number 5 in a row. They've been the best team in the state for a long time. And until somebody knocks them off, that's the way it is.
4 straight, 7 out of the last 10. They have to defend again today.
And let's take a look at some of the key players for St. Charles coming into this contest and who to watch for them.
Well, up front is Patrice Fulner. She had 22 goals over the regular season. She's a little bit sick, but she scores goals. Then defensively, Ann Poulin, she is such a sweet player, smooth. She attacks from the back and solidifies the defense as well.
We talked with Joe Morrow before the game about the pressure on the Saints because they've been the best for a long, long time.
What kind of things do you think about going into a game against the Knights?
We got to contain their speed. The Jedlow sisters up top are outstanding players, and Lulu in the middle. If we can keep her from beating our midfielders and distributing the ball because she's a great passer, that's what we want to do.
What kind of final words do you give your girls before they go out for another state championship?
They get to play the team they wanted to play.
Thanks, Joe. Good luck.
And we will have the starting lineups for tonight's championship game between St. Charles and Lincoln Way after this timeout. This is Fox Sports Net. An absolutely perfect night here in Naperville for the 2000 IHSA Girls Championship game. The Lincoln Way Knights and the Saints of St. Charles. And now it's time to get the starting lineups for tonight's championship game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Naperville Central High School. Let's begin the soccer competition by introducing the visiting Knights of Lincoln Way. Please meet head coach Brian Papa, whose Knights enter the final match with a record of 25 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Whereas 2, a sophomore fullback, Ashley Nussbaum. Wearing number 3, a senior fullback, Shelley Soderborg. Wearing number 4, a senior fullback, Lindsay Soderborg. Wearing number 5, a senior forward, Cam Jedlow. Wearing number 7, a sophomore forward, Kristen Jedlow. Wearing number 9, a senior halfback, Denise Kapke. Wearing number 13, a senior halfback, Beth Bartkus. Wearing number 15, a senior halfback, Becca Tepke. Wearing number 18, a freshman sweeper, Elise Nikonchuk. Wearing number 26, a freshman fullback, Lauren Johnston. And in the goal for the Knights, sophomore, Emily Nikonchuk. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the home team, the Saints of St. Charles. Please meet Coach Joe Moreau, whose team enters this evening's final game with a record of 25 wins, 26 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties. And now for the starting lineup. In the goal, a junior, Lexi Stormo. Wearing number 4, a senior defender, Katie Conway. Wearing number 5, a senior midfielder, Ann Bernard. Wearing number 7, a senior forward, Lisa Himrod. Wearing number 9, a senior forward, Jenna Stormo. Wearing number 13, a sophomore midfielder, Deborah Banakis. Wearing number 15, a senior forward, Patrice Fulmer. Wearing number 18, a sophomore defender, Kristen Zoli. Wearing number 20, a senior midfielder, Sarah Beebe. Wearing number 21, a senior midfielder, Ann Pullen. And wearing number 23, junior defender, Shannon McBride.
St. Charles Saints trying to win their 5th state title in a row. And again, very interesting that both of these schools will be splitting campuses next year, and it's going to have a big effect on all their athletic programs because it's not just soccer in which these 2 schools excel. Let's see how these 2 teams got to this championship game. First of all, for the St. Charles Saints, this is the way the tournament unfolded this weekend here at Naperville Central. And it started out for St. Charles, the victory over Lions, which for a lot of the year was ranked number 2 in the state, a victory over Barrington earlier today. That is how St. Charles made their way to the championship. As for Lincoln Way, they're a winner over Libertyville, and the Wildcats are almost always playing here on tournament weekend. And then a victory late this morning over Peoria Notre Dame. And just to let you know, Barrington was a winner over Peoria Notre Dame in the 3rd place game just completed a little while ago.
Both excellent games.
Now there has been a change in the starting lineup for Lincoln Way because Lulu Quigley, who is one of the stars of this Lincoln Way team, problems with her ankle, among other injuries. She will not play in this contest tonight for head coach Brian Papa.
Game time. Lou Quigley rolled an ankle in the first game. I was just talking to her and I'm trying to console her a little bit because she's really disappointed. It's tight. It's starting to swell a little bit, but they're working on it right now. We'll see. And I told her if there's anything that's going to hinder your playing career right now, you're not going to play. Well, she started crying. I said I didn't say no. So that's one. Becca Teppe's got a bad foot. It's game time. We'll find out about her. But, you know, we're going to suit up. We got enough girls. We got 22 players, and we brought one girl in off the alternative team. So they're going to get their chance and opportunity to show how good we are. I always thought we were deep. Well, we'll see how deep.
Brian, good luck.
That is exactly what Lincoln Way is going to find out, because you certainly like to have all your guns going into a championship game. But you know what? You deal with it. It's just one of those things you have to live with.
Yeah, you know what? Brian was kind of being political there. We'll go out and play, but that is a big, big key to Lincoln Way's offense, not having Lulu Quigley in the center of the field feeding the forwards.
So controlling the ball right now, the Lincoln Way Knights, as most of the games so far here in the first couple of moments have been played in the middle part of the field, and we will get to Ed's keys to the game as soon as we get a ball out over the sidelines. So let's go to the starting lineups first of all and show you that once again, reiterating the players that are in the game for Lincoln Way tonight.
And the switch here, that's actually the starting
That's
lineup
the
for the St. Charles Saints.
Lineup,
so
right.
their forwards are Patrice Fulner and Jenna Storma up front, and a very potent offense for St. Charles.
And of course, St. Charles, what you would think they would try and do is try and force the action and try to really put it to the Lincoln Way Knights, whereas Lincoln Way really has to try and weather the storm. But we'll get into that a little bit more when we get to Ed's keys to the game.
You know, Lindsay Soderberg there wearing number 4. She has a twin sister, Shelly. Lindsay will play the center marking back. Because Quigley is out of the lineup, Shelly Soderberg will move into the midfield position, and number 26, Lauren Johnston, will take that outside fullback spot normally taken by Shelly.
First offensive push we have seen in the game so far. Patrice Fulner had it for a moment, then the ball goes over the sideline. So again, let's take a look at the starting lineups.
St. Charles up front, they will go with Stormo and Fulner. Lisa Himrod, more of an outside left midfielder. They are very strong through the midfield with Bernard, Benakis, and Beebe. And of course, in back is Ann Pullen. There's the starting 3, 5-7-9 club they call them. Kim and Kristen Jedlow, along with Denise Papke, who scored 2 goals in the semifinal win over Quincy Notre Dame.
And they actually can shop at the 579 store because they are very small young ladies.
Dude, that's part of the joke.
All right, St. Charles with the ball and moving it up. That's Ann Poulin, and she was taken down from behind, and that is indeed the call that is made. And just want to let you know, since you're going to be probably wondering how this game is going to be officiated tonight, that's the first time we have heard from the official. It's Stephen Davidson of Schaumburg who will be officiating in this state championship contest.
Veteran referee, has done quite a few finals.
And this is one of the places where St. Charles can be very, very dangerous. As they kick it into the goal area, the ball comes down and hits the ground, which is somewhat surprising. Fulner was in the area, and Fulner took a kick at it, couldn't drive it forward to the net, and Lincoln Way able to clear it back out to midfield. Break possible. This is Kim Jedlow heading down the right side of the field. Jedlow heading toward the net, and a nice tackle and defensive play made by the Saints.
Well, there we saw one of the matchups that we're going to be watching in this game, and that's the speed of Kim Jedlow for Lincoln Way against the speed and the defensive skill of number 4, Katie Conway. What a great ball from Denise Papke to spring Jedlow on the right side, and Conway was right there to recover. That was a good chance early on and covered up quickly by the Saints.
Is that, in a nutshell, Ed, somewhat the game plan for Lincoln Way? As now getting a break as Denise Papke shoots, scores! 1-0. What a surprise. Lincoln Way gets out on top first.
That is a huge goal for the Knights. A little flat-footed defensively, and Papke, who was on fire in the semifinals, gets her 3rd goal of the day, her first goal in this game. What a sweet finish with the outside of her right foot. The ball flicked on. We'll have to check. I believe it might have been Kim Jedlow who flicked that ball onto Papke, and Papke will be playing collegiately at Northern Illinois University next year for Frank Horvath. There's the flick on, still missed the number, but she slipped her defender. Watch the outside of the right foot. She wrong-footed Alexi Storm, a 1-0 night.
So now the state champions must play from behind as Lincoln Way gets the opening goal of the game.
It's going to come in the 4th minute.
And that's Fulner, and she goes for the upper corner of the net, and that sails wide and over the goal line. So Lincoln Way is going to get possession of the ball.
Look at Ann Bernard, kind of a midfield defender for the Saints. One of the many seniors. Now, Jim, this is the first time that I can recall in quite some time that actually somebody is able to match the experience of St. Charles. They are known for having freshmen and sophomore playing key roles, And when they get to these state championships, it really is not that much different because they've been playing for so long. You know, there's 6 players on this Lincoln Way squad who have been to the Final 8. So they've got the experience, and that plays a big part.
And again, the St. Charles Saints, really a very senior-laden team, and it's what you see a lot of times in state championship action. St. Charles has had the ability to reload all these years and just keep running people in. And we just want to remind everybody that Lincoln Way, you know, that they've been here a lot too. They've got a lot of experience in championship games, just that St. Charles tends to win it. Fulner receives the pass, takes it back out a little deeper. Fulner was looking for the return pass, didn't get it. And again, the Knights able to clear it out of the goal area. Pass intended for Fulner. That was picked off. The defensive coverage very good right now for Lincoln Way. Up front, it's Kristen Jedlow, and she was fouled as she tried to make her turn, and she's trying to wave her teammates ahead.
Shannon McBride sticking in there. You're going to notice something about St. Charles marking backs, McBride and Conway. They are very aggressive. They tried to deny the ball. They're quick to the ball. If they can't deny the ball, they're very strong in not allowing an attacking player to move the ball forward.
Back to midfield, and here come the Lincoln Way Knights again. That was an intended pass for Denise Papke, who was the only goal of the game so far, and just kept from going over the goal line. And good job by the Lincoln Way Knights of staying forward in the offensive area. The St. Charles Saints kept it in, but you have to wonder now maybe if that was such a good idea, because Lincoln Way has it back again. Kristen Jadlow couldn't turn and fire it toward the net, and it goes back out toward midfield where the Saints take possession. Back across the midfield stripe. Fulner looking for the ball, couldn't get there to it, and it's knocked out of there by Ashley Nussbaum and takes it over the sideline. It will be the ball for the St. Charles Saints. That's 15 Fulner right in the middle of the field, and there has been nothing doing so far anywhere around the goal for the for the St. Charles Saints. They have been able to generate 0 opportunities because the defensive coverage has been so good. Here come the Lincoln Way Knights once again. Kristen Jedlow, she was heading toward the net, but she was well covered, and really no opportunity for Kim Jedlow to make a pass into the middle.
That was a savvy play there by Ann Poulin, the senior sweeper, who just got her body inside of Jedlow. It's fun watching Kim Jedlow streak up and down the right wing over there. She puts her head down and flies to goal, and Poulin just got great defensive position, stepped inside, kind of limited the opportunity that Kim Jedlow had on the way to the ball. Here's some keys, the Hyundai keys for Lincoln Way. They want to make St. Charles play defense as a team. That means possessing the ball. The other thing they want to do is use their speed like you saw in Kim Jedlow.
Fulner has it. She has to try and out-battle 2 Lincoln Way Knights for the ball, and that's something you're going to see a lot of.
St. Charles, they want to stop Lincoln Way's midfield distribution. Not as big a part without Lulu Quigley in the lineup. And they also want to play with heart. This is something that Joe Moreau tries to instill in his team. You play with heart, we got even a better chance of winning. That girl right there, Patrice Fulner, number 15, playing with a 102-degree fever. She was throwing up all last night. Normally her game is making some very sharp and hard runs to the corner. She's going to be limited in that capacity because of her health.
Throw in by Shannon McBride, but taken out of there easily by Shelly Soderberg. Yeah, I saw her before the game, and Ed, she doesn't look very well. But you know what? It's a state championship game. You play. You figure, you know what? You're 18, 19 years old. You can deal with it. But we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on Fulner as the game goes on.
And the funny thing is, Coach Joe Moreau told me she looks a million times better than she did this morning.
Well, and the other thing that may work to her advantage is it has been an absolutely beautiful day today. Temperature in the 70s. It's cool. The humidity is down. You really couldn't ask for a better night for a state championship game. And again, the St. Charles Saints right now, just they'd like to get it out of their own end and generate a chance. Poulin sends it up to midfield. Fulner is there waiting for it. Now Fulner trying to get some kind of a break up the middle of the field, but it's not going to be there because the Lincoln Way Knights, again, they always seem to have 4 people back and waiting for the opportunity, and that's knocked out, well, not knocked out by Soderberg, but she makes a nice defensive play and just keeps it going up the sideline, and the Lincoln Way Knights will keep possession. Soderberg with the throw-in. Goes into the middle of the field. She was trying to get it to Beth Barkus. It was taken away for a second, and then the Knights regain possession. Barkus lets it go by in the middle of the field, and again, the Knights just keeping it in on the half of the field where they can make an attempt at attacking, and Ann Poulin knocks it back to midfield. And we We have a collision at midfield. Andrea Ridgway was in on it. She got the worst of the collision, but she got the ball back for the St. Charles Saints.
Andrea Ridgway in for Jenna Stormo on the front line. Watch this girl. She has got blazing speed. She's tenacious. Does a great job of swinging balls into the mix. Transfer in from Pennsylvania. Here's the foul here. Going in hard was Lindsay Soderberg. And welcome to the game, Andrea. I think, Jim, for the most part, this is something that the St. Charles Saints are not used to, especially in a championship situation. You know, they had 22 shutouts on the season. Only 8 teams scored against them this year. Lincoln Way was obviously one of them in a 2-1 victory early on in the year.
Well, and the thing, too, is sometimes you wonder if a team that's this good, as the foul is called, and getting up rather slowly off of the field is Elise Nikonchuk, who is another one of the many pairs of sisters we have in this game.
Yes, indeed. Elise is only a freshman, taken down from behind by Ridgway. You know, Ridgway got clocked a little bit a couple of seconds earlier, so she was dishing out a bit of her own.
Ann Poulin has just been marvelous back as a defender for Lincoln Way, and really for St. Charles, and that was the change that was made earlier in the year, is dropping Poulin back on defense that got St. Charles going in the right direction, because they got off to an uncharacteristically rough start this year.
Well, they started Jenna Stormo back as sweeper, as Lincoln Way has a chance. And what happened was Ann Poulin, as a freshman, was the starting sweeper for St. Charles. Through her sophomore and junior year, she moved into an offensive midfield role, very effective there, and they wanted to keep her there. But Jenna Stormo, even though she was good defensively, she just didn't have the leg to clear balls away, and St. Charles defense was getting in trouble by not being able to clear the ball. So they moved and they built from the back, and they put Ann Poulin there, and Ann actually can be not as offensive, but she can have an effect offensively coming from the back.
For the first time, St. Charles looking like they had something working on the attack, but that has been snuffed out for the moment. And again, the ball will come back to Ann Poulin, and the ball stays in possession of St. Charles. St. Charles, their 8th title game appearance. They've won 7 championships. So if they win tonight, that would be 8 for 8. Not too bad.
Joe Moreau, the head coach of the St. Charles Saints, he is littered all over the IHSA record book with appearances and wins and all that stuff, and that comes from winning 7 state championships in the last 10 years.
Well, one thing we talked about at the very start to develop the storyline a little more is about how both schools will be splitting up, and in particular for St. Charles, it doesn't make that much difference to your seniors because it doesn't affect them, but to your underclassmen, that's where it maybe has a little bit of an effect.
Brian Papa, the head coach of the Lincoln Way Knights.
Throw in, doesn't quite make it to the penalty, or did make it into the penalty area, didn't quite make it into the goal area, and then back over the end line, the ball goes back to Lincoln Way.
Sarah Beebe, one of the outside midfielders for St. Charles. She was playing in the shadows of Becky Myers last year, now getting to stand out on her own. She's got some speed down the flanks.
Very speedy team. So far, Lincoln Way, they've gone to their game plan. They have used their speed. They used it to get the only goal of the game. Ball comes back out to midfield. Denise Papke has the goal in the game, but couldn't come up with the ball in that particular instance. And Poulin this time is going to send it out of bounds. Was it off a Lincoln Way player? No, it was not.
There's Ann Poulin. All everything. Oh, what a ball.
Kristen Jedlow almost got to it, and Poulin, she was over near the sideline, ran all the way into the goal area, showing marvelous speed. That's one of the reasons why she'll be playing Division I soccer at Arizona State next year. Ridgway couldn't come down with it. And now the Lincoln Way Knights, they lose possession. Here's Ridgway, goes back across the center line, and now it's Ann Poulin. Ann Poulin, a dangerous offensive player, even though she's a defender. She can make her way through the defense and comes way up in front, but couldn't carry it any farther, and now the Lincoln Way Knights will have possession again.
There is Emily Nikonchuk talking about Ann Poulin. One of the things that Joe Moreau says about it, you know, she makes the hard things look so easy. She's effortless out there, and that's one of the things that separates the good players from the great ones.
Back to midfield with the ball, and now the St. Charles Saints in possession. Elise Nikonchuk trying to get it started in the right direction. Good defensive play, and the Lincoln Way Knights doing a good job of marking so far. 1-0, Lincoln Way leading St. Charles. We are in the first half of this 2000 IHSA Girls State Soccer Championship game. Surprised a little bit that you haven't seen St. Charles maybe press a little bit more. They have been very disciplined even though they're behind, which is something they are not used to at all, so it speaks well to the discipline that they are not panicking even though they are behind. Fulner, 2 Knights around her, manages to come up with the ball. Fulner making her way toward the goal area. Fulner still has it, spun around, still has possession, looking for somewhere to make a pass. Out in front just a little bit, and what's the call?
It'll be a corner kick, I believe. Now they're going to call a goal kick and say the ball was over the line before Emily Nikonchuk, as you take a look at Emily there.
And Sarah Beebe showing good speed, able to get to the ball.
That whole play was made by there she is, Patrice Fulner. Watch how good she is in tight spaces. Just able to get enough of an opening to get the ball toward goal, and then the back post run by Sarah Beebe. It looked to me like it went off the goalkeeper.
But anyway, the call is for Lincoln Way to have a crack at it. Now the ball at midfield again. Coming up, Beth Bartkus was in the neighborhood. She's played very, very well so far. And now Bartkus going out to defend. Here's Fulner with the ball. Fulner has now moved farther out away from the goal, maybe trying to spring herself some room that way. Now Fulner has some room to operate. Fulner trying to get around Denise Papke, and did. Now Fulner back over to the right side of the field for Sarah Beebe. Beebe sends it toward the net, toward the corner, and a wonderful stop by Emily Nikonchuk.
That was sweet. It looked like the ball took a deflection off the shot that was headed. Balls up in the air in the upper portions of the net, and girls soccer, especially on the high school level, are tough to handle. And Emily Nikonchuk got over there. It did indeed deflect off a defender. She's looking straight into the sun as well.
Yeah, that was a very, very tough stop and a wonderful, wonderful save by Emily Nikonchuk, who hasn't had a whole lot of business down there so far, but that's the best save we have seen so far in the contest.
Jim, we're almost 20 minutes into the game, and really I think for the first 10 minutes, Lincoln Way has had the better of the game, but over the last 5 to 7 minutes, I think St. Charles is slowly starting to work in possession. They've got more of the ball. They're starting to make Lincoln Way chase a little bit, and Lincoln Way has become a little less patient and more forward thinking, getting panicky, as I do, trying to get that word out of my mouth.
Well, the thing is Fulner hasn't been able to get any room to operate, but Beebe, I think, has been the beneficiary of that because she has had some room to run around out there. Bartkus with the header, didn't head it out, sent toward the end line, and the ball will go back to the Knights.
And next time that happens, Chip, just hit me in the back of the head. The word will come out quicker, okay?
Don't get violent on me, but if you insist,
it'll work.
Lincoln Way making a substitution in the game. And the Knights put it back in play. Out to midfield. And Ridgway trying to get to it, couldn't do it. This is Beebe trying to get around to the front of the net. She couldn't do it. Ashley Nussbaum with a nice defensive play, and she will make the throw in.
She's only a sophomore. A regular both seasons for Brian Papa, has some great speed, and she's really a good tackler of the ball.
Nussbaum will throw it in again and tried twice to get the ball to Denise Papke. It didn't work either time. Now Fulner comes up to try and make a play on it. Makes a nice play, gets it back to Beebe. Beebe with the defenders converging on her, sends it toward the net, and pretty easy handle the ball by Nikonchuk.
You know, something happened there that is a subtle thing, but the pressure from Lindsay Soderberg, who came out hard on Beebe there, forced her to make a decision and get the ball up front before any runs could be made by St. Charles.
Papke into the box, and it was knocked out of there by the Saints. And Bartkus taken down, and that is why the whistle blows. And wow, the ball goes back to St. Charles. I think everybody in the crowd thought that Lincoln Way was going to get possession on that call, but they did not.
Good battle between a pair of 13s, Beth Bartkus in red and Deborah Benakis in white, 2 very hard players.
Bartkus initiated the contact with her left elbow, and that is why the call was made the way it was, and it was indeed the right call. And Lincoln Way, there's maybe a symptom of what you were talking about, Ed. Maybe just a little bit of forward thinking as they try to move the ball forward. That was Becca Topke, who was looking ahead and forgot to move the ball with her.
Well, we talked about the keys in possessing the ball and making St. Charles chase a little bit. They're not looking side to side. They're looking end to end now and getting rid of the ball a little bit quicker.
A little bit of a change here because Fulner before they were trying to get the ball to her. Now it almost seems like a give and go type of situation where they're trying to move the ball to her, then have her move it somewhere else and get her open with some running.
Watch out for Ann Poulin on this restart situation, but we'll get into that Patrice Fulner thought after this, Jim. It's a good point.
So Ann Poulin, who can be deadly from here. This is a lot of options to consider for St. Charles.
She scored a goal 10 yards, 15 yards beyond that in the semifinal, but it was during the run of play.
Fulner trying to get open. There's the kick, and up into the upper right-hand corner. The game is tied at 1. They had Fulner on the backside moving toward the net, but Poulin didn't need her. She tucks it into the upper right-hand corner, and we're tied at 1.
What a great strike from Ann Poulin. Her 4th goal of this tournament. Just a wicked right foot, and that was a postage stamp. Watch the way she strikes this ball. Head down, got through it. That is upper window postage stamp. Thank you.
Higher or more to the side, and that one doesn't go in.
Watch her face.
Kick was absolutely perfectly placed.
No chance for Emily Nikonchuk.
So St. Charles, after having kind of feel their way through most of this game so far, they find themselves all tied up in 1. And now Lincoln Way will get an opportunity.
But your thought on Patrice Fulner, if she was at full health, she would be making a lot of runs to the corners, and the midfield will be playing balls over toward those areas, the flags. Because she can't run as much now, she's just checking back into the ball, receiving it, laying it off, and then trying to get forward a little bit. She can't make those longer runs as much as she normally does, obviously.
So now the game has turned around a little bit, and the Lincoln Way Knights come up with a steal, and Bartkus tried to head it into the goal area, but instead it comes back to midfield. Bartkus kicks it back into the goal area, but that will be handled by Lexi Stormo.
Lexi really hasn't gotten a whole lot of credit for how good she is because the defense of St. Charles is so solid.
Beebe with a nice move, got it to Fulmer, over to Ridgway. Now Ridgway looking to return it to Fulmer. Fulmer wanted the ball back, Ridgway with a shot, and that is stopped by Nikonchuk. Boy, Fulner was calling for the ball.
She still wants it, but Andrea Ridgway is a very dangerous player as well.
Beebe waits for the ball to come down, waits to survey the scene, got it to Fulner, and Fulner decides to keep it.
See, now St. Charles is just possessing, looking for some overlapping runs, help from the defense, and they've been forcing the Lincoln Way Knights to chase.
Ridgway watching the ball roll toward the corner, tried to get there first and could not, but turns around, sends it back into the middle looking for Fulner, and that was knocked away by Denise Papke.
Now there's a symptom of what's happening right now. Denise Papke is one of your forwards, is deep in her own penalty area, clearing the ball.
Poulin sends it toward the net again, but that one had a little bit too much air under it. And we will take a timeout. Lincoln Way won, St. Charles won the 2000 IHSA Girls Championship game. And we should point out that Lulu Quigley, who is playing on a bad right ankle, one of the star players for Lincoln Way, she attempted the header right there. She is on the field. You know what, quite frankly, Ed, she's not in any kind of shape to play, but you know what? It's a state title game, and if you feel like your team needs you, get out there. I have a feeling as long as Lincoln Way would have stayed ahead, we might not have seen her. But with 1-1 and about 16 minutes to go in the first half, see what she has.
Well, let's see. The key for what Lulu is going to have to do is just some possession for Brian Papa and the Lincoln Way Knights. She really doesn't have to be all that mobile. If she can collect the ball, hold it for a little while, make sure that they're not giving up the ball quickly, she will be effective. Obviously not as effective as if she was healthy. She had 2 good legs, but that could help.
Shannon McBride looking for Poulin, the header, didn't get much on it. Now Ridgway, that was a great kick by Ridgway. She got a second chance at it because Nikonchuk couldn't come up with the ball cleanly. And Ridgway, that ball was about head high, and she was able to kick.
Man, you got to give some Purple Hearts out to the Lincoln Way Knights, to the goalkeeper first, Watch the ball. Shannon McBride looking for Ann Poulin. Got up there, got a good head ball. Nikonchuk can't get to it. Watch how bravely she came out, and then she got tangled up with her defender, Nussbaum. Both Nussbaum and, oh man, the knee went the wrong way there, and she came out limping, but that's some bravery from the Lincoln Way Knights.
And the game is still 1-1. Nikonchuk playing marvelously, and the sun just dead in her eyes. And with as quickly as the sun is setting, though, you wonder if that's not going to be a huge advantage if the Lincoln Way Knights can survive it, because the other goalkeeper, Lexi Stormo, likely the sun might be down by the time we start the second half. She may not have to deal with that.
And I'd like to know how much sun affected, well, really, I don't, if she could have seen it, the whole shot that Ann Poulin took, I don't think she could have stopped it, but the sun might have played a factor there as well.
But it is still 1-1. And it's amazing how this game has turned around just a little bit, Ed, because as long as Lincoln Way was leading 1-0, you felt that, okay, maybe they weren't exactly as confident as they possibly could have been, but they had the lead. But then when Poulin scores the goal, everything seemed to change around just a little bit.
Well, Emily is trying to shake this off. Kim Black, their backup keeper, is only a freshman. She has not gotten much playing time at all for Lincoln Way during the season. So Emily really has to gut it out here. I don't know how bad she's limping in her penalty area.
Well, she's trying to move around a little bit and try and shake it up, and here comes Ridgway again.
Well, let's see what kind of killer instinct the St. Charles Saints have right now if they can smell that the keeper is hurt and get some balls toward goal.
And you also have to see how much the Lincoln Way Knights are able to pick up their teammate right now. Remember, there's a lot of nicked up Knights playing out there right now. Beebe sends it toward the net, didn't get much on it, and it goes harmlessly wide to the right.
Smart play by Beebe, because the mobility of Emily Nikonchuk is limited right now, and every time she gets a chance, she's trying to shake off the effects of that collision. So Beebe said, I'm going to have a go. Look at how limited her mobility.
And you know what? From the way she's moving around, it looks like it's more her ankle than her knee or her thigh. So big situation for St. Charles right here. Can they put some goals in the net while they have a wounded team staring them right in the face? Ridgway has it, trying to use her speed to get open. DeRocher up on the left side, cross, and knocked away. Nice defensive play by the Lincoln Way Knights.
Great ball from Stephanie Salt.
Here come the Saints again. And again, Lincoln Way, in spite of the fact that they are wounded and having some problems, they are making the plays for right now. Bartkus right up the middle of the field, but nobody there.
See, that's a wasted ball trying to get it forward. Actually, Soderberg took a touchback. That was the first time I saw Lincoln Way just settle the ball and look to make a sure pass.
And now a very difficult situation for Emily Nikonchuk. It's going to be a throw-in off the side to send directly in her eyes. She's nicked up, she's injured. And the Saints really have to take advantage of the last 12 and a half minutes of this half.
Yes, they do. Jane Thorne, number 11, into the lineup for St. Charles.
Beebe with the throw-in. Looking to get it to Ann Poulin, but coming over and making really quite a wonderful defensive play and closing fast was Emily Lafferty. Beebe on the throw-in again. Didn't go to Poulin this time. Pretty tough, aggressive defense being played by Lindsay Soderberg. Now the ball taken away. Lincoln Way on the move, and loose ball. Bartkus couldn't get to it. But all sorts of Lincoln Way Knights are picking up their teammates right now, and for the first time in a while, we see the Lincoln Way Knights move into the offensive end of the field. Poulin is there to stop that threat, though, again. Bartkus right in midfield. Bartkus looking, was trying to hit Kristen Jedlow, and the pass was errant, and again, the ball goes back to St. Charles.
You know, Jim, everything is forward, forward, forward for Lincoln Way. There's no side-to-side at all in their passing. They're not even looking that way. Yeah, you want to use your speed, but you got to change it up every once in a while and force the defense of St. Charles to come out and pick you up wide. That'll create some space in behind for those forwards to move into. And another injury that we haven't talked about, Lincoln Way's on Lincoln Way's side, is Mary Jo Kohler, who scored 17 goals during the regular season. You know, Lincoln Way had 6 players with double-digit scoring this year in goals, and Mary Jo, she's kind of gotten the nickname of the garbage man because she's one of those people who fighting in front. She's had a bad ankle all season. She has not played.
Well, it's just going to be a situation of all hands on deck for Lincoln Way. They have enough nicked up players. They just got to see who can get out there and go, and they're doing a fine job so far. They are tied with the 4-time defending state champs, 1-1.
Here's some connecting passes happening a little bit here for Lincoln Way now. Dangerous play called against St. Charles. Good call by Steve Davidson.
Lindsay Griffiths was a little over-aggressive in her pursuit of the ball. So now Lincoln Way with a chance to set up in the St. Charles half of the field. About 10 minutes remaining in the opening half. Game is tied at 1. Elise Nikonchuk sends it toward the net. Looking into the penalty area and nothing doing as the ball was headed out by number 5, Ann Bernard.
I think the shots right there is a good indication of the way this first half has gone. The first 5 to 10 minutes, Lincoln Way was all over this, but they got a goal and that was about it. Then St. Charles just sunk their teeth in.
Although the one shot Lincoln Way had, they scored.
We'll take that if you're Lincoln Way.
And Lincoln Way trying to advance right now. Jackie Layton had the ball go off her ankle. It was touched on the way out. So number 19 for Lincoln Way, Becky Ingles, will be on the throw-in.
Becky didn't get much playing time. I don't think she got any playing time in the semifinal win over Quincy Notre Dame. It was one of those situations where Brian Papa was trying to keep her legs fresh for this game.
And again, getting back to the issue of the sun, it's important that Lincoln Way keeps the ball in the St. Charles half of the field, because as the sun sinks, it's going to be more directly in the eyes of Emily Nikonchuk. So they really need to keep up the offensive pressure and help out their goaltender.
Emily might want to get a baseball cap because she's down on the other end holding her hand as a visor, and she is still limping noticeably. Wow, that's a tough situation right there.
She is really, really fighting it.
Number 15, Patrice Fulmer.
It will be a throw-in for St. Charles. Andrea Ridgway coming back in, and we have seen her with the ability to move the ball quickly offensively, and that's probably the exact reason why she's in. Ridgway nearly made the steal. And right now the pressure being turned on. Fulner and Ridgway coming up the field. Fulner has it. She's double teamed, trying to get it to Ridgway. Instead sends it toward the net, and a gutsy save by Nikonchuk.
Big time gutsy. Look at how laboring she is to get up.
You know how painful that had to be to plant on that ankle?
Well, you could see it in her face.
Poulin with the ball, and down in midfield was Katie Conway. She got the call, and now Poulin is going to get an opportunity from midfield to maybe set up an offensive chance for St. Charles.
Poulin has the goal, making sure her attackers are in position before she sends this one forward. She strikes the ball so cleanly.
Nearly got it into the penalty area, but not quite. Now Fulner with it for St. Charles toward the net, and Nikonchuk making a relatively easy stop under normal circumstances, but right now nothing is easy for her.
You know, Jim, we've been talking about injuries and the effects, and I don't know what can be done, but I've said this in the boys' state final, to make the boys play 3 games in 2 days is ridiculous. It takes away from the beauty of the game. These athletes don't have a chance to recover. Soccer is not a game that you can go out and play full tilt 2 games in 2 days, and they're forced to play 3 games in less than a 24-hour period. I don't know what can be done, but that needs to be looked into.
Well, one of the things you run into at this time of year, too, is you really don't want to take the students out of school too much, because you have the last exams before school gets out. That's one of the reasons why is the calendar. And it's also left over a little bit from the days when if you have teams from downstate in basketball traveling, it's a lot easier to get them out of school on a Thursday, have them play Friday and Saturday. So that's one of the reasons why the way it is, although we should point out that at least with soccer, most of the teams are from the Chicagoland area and the suburbs, so the travel isn't as much of a problem. So it is done, one of the reasons why is to keep the kids from missing as much school as possible, especially considering the time of year that it is. So
no doubt there's arguments on both sides, but from a soccer standpoint, it's really asking them to go above and beyond what their bodies are able to do.
Well, one of the things you might be able to look at is move it later, because the baseball is played when the guys are already out of school, at least the state championship tournament for the AA guys. So that's maybe one thing you could possibly look at. and spreading out the schedule a little bit, although you really hate to eat into the students' free time once school is out, too. So it's a quandary, but the original reason it was done, I think, is to keep kids from missing so they'd miss as little school as possible, especially at this time of year. Substitutions for the Lincoln Way Knights. Coming in is number 15, Becca Topke. We have 5.5 minutes left to go in the opening half. Game is all tied up at 1-1. Beebe will be on the throw-in. And they are trying to get the ball to Ridgway and Fulner. The ball goes toward Fulner but didn't get there. So the Knights have done a good job of keeping the ball away from the most lethal of the St. Charles Saints.
And really, St. Charles has not taken advantage of the goalkeeper situation.
No, you know what? They have generated a couple of shots as you look at our Taco Bell game summary. And you see the two goal scorers in the game so far. And I have to take my hat off to the Lincoln Way defenders for picking up their goalkeeper. She has had to make a couple of stops since she suffered the injury, but you know what? They have not been difficult saves.
And I don't think we've seen Ashley Nussbaum back in the game since she got tangled up with her keeper in that situation where Emily Nikonchuk hurt herself. So who knows if we'll see Ashley back in the game.
And the defenders again for Lincoln Way have done a good job of handling the ball. And Lulu Quigley, you know, she's run pretty well out there. She's in the neighborhood of the ball and just trying to make sure she doesn't let anybody get behind her or play a little defense. Now Beebe has it, looking for Fulner. Fulner was about to turn the other way and head for the ball, but it was headed out of there very, very nicely by Lindsay Soderberg. And aggressive defense being played by the Lincoln Way Knights, as they just seem to have an answer for everything that's coming their way right now. And that ball got through. Fulner has Nicole, and offside call. Wow, Fulner, that's why she was so wide open.
If you're a Knight fan, wipe your brow right there, because the missed trap allowed Fulner to slip in behind, but she was behind the defense when the ball was struck.
Well, it was misplayed so much that's how Fulner got so wide open.
Oops. But look at where Patrice was standing back there, and Lindsay Soderberg looking around for the assistant referee at the help.
Missed header. Will it be a chance for Kristen Jedlow? Jedlow has 2 Saints to beat. Couldn't do it. And the ball will just go over the sideline.
Kristen Jedlow, the younger sister of the Jedlows, a sophomore, 25 goals during the regular season.
Kim Jedlow throw-in. Got it to Kristen. Really couldn't do too much with it. Kim Jedlow sends it into the penalty area. Quigley was looking for the header, didn't get to the ball first. Ball comes back out to midfield. Fulner. Looked like she had gotten there first, just was flat taken off the ball by Nikonchuk. Now moving up the right side. Papke, she has the goal in the game. Sent the pass to the middle, didn't find its mark. Kristen Jedlow couldn't get to it, and Lexi Stormo, who should be well rested.
Well, that was a chance for Lincoln Way. If Papke had gotten a ball to Becca Topke, who was making a run right up the center channel, while on the pass was behind Topke.
So the storyline that's developing right now is that the St. Charles Saints have not been able to take advantage of a Lincoln Way team that is battered, bruised, and showing all sorts of heart right now.
Indeed. And they have not sent any balls. You know, you just send a harmless ball into the penalty area right now, it's going to create some harm just because of the physical condition that Emily Nikonchuk is in.
I want to point something out, too, is the way this field is configured, and play getting a little rough right around midfield. The reason why most football fields you see, and this is the football field here at Naperville Central, are configured north-south is just for this reason. Is because you don't want to have a team playing football or playing soccer going into the sun. This field is laid out more or less going from northwest to southeast, and that is why the sun is dead in the eyes of Nikonchuk right now.
Physical play. There's a state championship on the line here.
1-1 as we move down toward the closing moments of the opening half. And the Lincoln Way Knights have to be very, very happy with the way they have played. They got the goal early to set the tone a little bit their way, but ever since the 1-1 goal, they've really tightened it up. Headed back to midfield. And now St. Charles will see if they can set up for maybe one more offensive foray here in the first half. They get it to Poulin. Poulin, a little bit of room to operate. Brings it over the midfield stripe, and she was knocked off the ball. And play getting a little bit physical here as Becca Topke took down Poulin, and Poulin is a little slow getting up.
There's some hits going on in the midfield. And another injured player is now what Brian Papa needs.
It's Topke turned her right ankle as she went in to make the tackle.
Let's hope Lincoln Way can make it home after this game.
Well, Poulin, she's shaken up a little bit as well, so we have a lot of people that are playing hurt out there. Deborah Banakis, or check that. That is Shannon McBride.
Now normally Ann Poulin will make a trip upfield and get in the mix to get on the back end of the Shannon McBride ball, but I think just because of that injury, she's going to take a few seconds to allow the effects of that to wear off.
McBride into the penalty area. That's Lulu Quigley heading it out. Wonderful play by another one of the injured Lincoln Way Knights. Saints trying to mount a charge. About half a minute now remaining on the clock here in the first half. Game still tied at 1, and it'll be a throw-in for Lincoln Way.
It's a shame that the fans here and the viewers can't see, are unable to see what Lulu Quigley can give you when she's healthy. She's such a graceful player that has great vision, just a whole lot of fun to watch.
Poulin got it to Fulner. Beebe slipped a little bit as she was heading for the ball and sent back out to midfield by the Lincoln Way Knights. Aggressive defense played by Jedlow because she knew the clock was running out. Didn't have to worry about leaving her post as a forward. Makes a nice defensive play. And quite honestly, we have seen some marvelous soccer here in the opening half. We've seen a lot of heart, especially by goalkeeper Emily Nakonchuk of Lincoln Way in the opening half, and it's tied at 1, Ed, and we've got a lot of people playing on heart, a lot of people sick, injured, and just a wonderful first half.
And I think the second half is going to be even better. We'll see how many bodies are able to go, and as she pointed, maybe it was her knee, I thought it was her ankle, but she's getting checked out now. It's a big component for Lincoln Way.
When we come back after this timeout, we will hear from Barrington's head coach. The Phillies are the third place winner in this year's Girls 2000 State Soccer Championship. We're back with more from Naperville Central after this timeout. We're tied at 1 at the half. Story of the opening half, besides the score, which is 1-1, is the injury to Emily Nakonchuk, the starting keeper for Lincoln Way. And she is not having a good go of it over on the bench. Kim Black is in warming up as we go through halftime here at Naperville Central. So how do you like this? You kind of just get thrown into it, Ed.
Well, you know what? Emily Nakonchuk's played 26 games for Lincoln Way this year. She's a sophomore. Kim Black, who you see on your screen, has played 1. She's a freshman.
She practices every day against what might be the best team in the state. So you have to look at it that way as well. All right, let's recap what happened in our opening half. A marvelous, marvelous match to this point. Here is the opening goal of the game. The Lincoln Way Knights get it. They spring Denise Papke, and she gives her team a big opening goal.
Shelly Soderberg was the flick on right there. What a brilliant play that was to get it in behind the defense, and Papke has had herself a tournament. What a finish.
And the second goal, Ann Poulin. Folks, this is about as good of a goal as you're going to see.
Did you see the little look of the eyes there before she struck it, and then the anticipation? This is postage stamp, right upper left corner. It doesn't get any better than that from about 25 to 30 yards out.
Did you get the impression that Ann Poulin knew that was going to
Yes.
go in before she even kicked it?
Yes.
And here's the injury.
Now watch how brave Emily Nakonchuk was coming out, especially Nussbaum. Trying to converge in on Andrea Ridgway. They get tangled up, and there's where the injury occurred, and that happened with a good 10 minutes left in the first half.
And that ball was up around her head before Ridgway kicked it. She's lucky she didn't get injured more than she did. But tough go of it for Nakonchuk, but she showed a lot of heart, stayed in throughout the opening half, played very, very well, actually, and she finds her team tied 1-1 with the 4-time defending state champs. We are through one half of the 2000 IHSA Girls Soccer Championship from Naperville Central High School. Goalkeeping has developed into the main story now in the state championship game. Lincoln Way's starting goaltender, Emily Nikonchuk, injured in the opening half. She will not return for the second half. Kim Black will guard the net for the Lincoln Way Knights.
Well, if you're Lincoln Way, you got to bunker in. Your defense has to work even hard. You got to play team defense the entire time and hope for a counterattack and get a break. But they need to allow her to feel confident.
Look at the halftime stats. Definitely St. Charles getting the better part of the action. But you know what? 1-1.
That's right. You know, in the first matchup between these two teams, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, Lincoln Way was all over St. Charles. They got a couple of goals. And the second half, it was all St. Charles, and Lincoln Way just held them off in the end and picked up a 2-1 victory.
And the other goalkeeper, Lexi Stormo, down at the other end of the field. She does not have to fight the sun, as Emily Nikonchuk did during the opening half, because the sun has sunk behind the school building here at Naperville Central, so it's not going to be a factor. And we are playing under the lights right now, although it is still bright enough to where the lights haven't taken any kind of effect. And the physical play that we saw toward the end of the first half picks right back up. Denise Papke has the goal in the game, gives it off for Kim Jedlow. Jedlow using some speed, got around Poole and got the shot off, but sends it wide right.
Well, that's something that the Knights are going to need more of. Jedlow, Papke, and also Kristen Jedlow taking the ball to goal and forcing the keeper to make some stops or the defense to defend a little bit.
Good job of Poulin by just kind of forcing Jedlow just a little bit to the outside where she couldn't get a decent shot on net. This is Fulner at midfield. And there is the injured Emily Nikonchuk on the sideline. She did try as hard as she could to come back out for the second half. You see that she had her knee taped. She was treated, but she just can't get out there. We had speculated it might be the knee, but it is actually, or the ankle, excuse me, but it is actually the knee. And you know what? There's nothing more heartbreaking than to come out of a state championship game. You work so hard to get here, you want to play.
I think that was Jackie Layton sitting next to her trying to keep her spirits up a little bit, and Emily wasn't having any of it.
And the crowd reacting to the fact that as she went after the ball, number 7 for St. Charles, Lisa Himrod, went down in a pile, but it was a throw-in nonetheless for Lincoln Way.
Lisa Himrod is one of those players that has been a starter since she was a freshman. She is a senior now.
And Himrod on the throw-in. Himrod battling for the ball, takes it away. Himrod to the center of the field and knocked down for the moment, and we are going to get the foul called on the St. Charles Saints. Ashley Nussbaum, she had the defensive position she was run into and negates a pretty decent chance for St. Charles early in the second half.
Watch this ball. Great cross from Himrod, and the defense just there ahead of Jenna Stormo. But you keep sending balls into the box like that, chances are that the keeper for Lincoln Way, Kim Black, is going to have trouble with one of them.
Well, the two 13s, Bartkus for Lincoln Way and Banakis for St. Charles, getting into the action in midfield. The ball goes all the way out to the far corner of the field, and Lincoln Way will get it back.
There's the MVP of the Lincoln Way Knights, Beth Bartkus. Very, very tough player.
Really does a good job of controlling the play at midfield. She always seems to know exactly where the ball is going to come down and gets in a position where she can do something with it.
23 goals from her midfield position, and she will move on to play college soccer at Evansville.
And again, you saw Bartkus had an idea, got everything cleared out and settled down, and now the Lincoln Way Knights. Here's Quigley. First offensive chance of the game for her. Moved it ahead to Kim Jedlow. Jedlow being marked, no room to go. Jedlow tries to take it to the corner, tried to cross, and that one well off the mark, and the ball will go back to Lincoln Way.
We saw a couple of things develop on that move upfield by Lincoln Way. First of all, they played the ball sideways and wide, and then forward, and then the ball got to that player right there, Lulu, and she sent it in behind Katie Conway there momentarily, and Kim Jedlow had a chance to go to goal, but that's a matchup that we haven't seen a lot of, is Conway and Kim Jedlow on the flank.
Clear foul by Shelly Soderberg, and so it will be a throw-in for the St. Charles Saints. You know, Lulu quickly came into this game midway through the first half, and it's one of those deals where she limps around a little bit when she's trying to get into position, but going full speed, she runs just fine. into the penalty area, and really not a whole lot going there. So Black gets her first chance to touch the ball, and there's Lulu Quigley.
But you know what? You just called it her first chance to touch the ball. Even as easy as that was to handle, that was big for Kim Black, and it's fortunate for her and Lincoln Way that she was able to touch the ball in a situation that wasn't critical.
I don't want to say that Lincoln Way heavy underdogs going into this game, but let's face it, when you're playing a 4-time state champion, you are not the team that's expected to come out with a victory. Then you start suffering injuries, and we have a pretty good story developing right now, but a long way to go, and St. Charles still trying to take advantage of a Lincoln Way team that is nicked up.
Hey, Jim, how many teams in the NBA, the Bulls, the Pistons, had to go through their growing and not getting there, knocking on the door, suffering a couple of defeats before they started winning some championships? That's similar to what Lincoln Way has gone through. You know, they really feel it's their time and that they've earned this.
And again, it's the last chance for both of these schools in their current configuration. Both of them see their campuses split next year, and it really, not just for girls soccer, but for football, for swimming. St. Charles, usually a good girls track and cross country team, really makes you wonder what's going to happen in some of these sports where these schools have been excellent for so long. Lincoln Way has had some marvelous football teams over the past few years, and it really becomes a lot of unknown for a lot of the athletes at both of these schools in the next couple of years.
No doubt about it.
Denise Papke over to the sideline, and it's knocked out, so it's going to be a throw-in for Lincoln Way.
Just saw Joe Moreau. He'll be the head soccer coach at St. Charles East. Now, St. Charles North will just have a freshman and sophomore program next year, and then the following year they will play as a varsity program. And Ruth Poulin, the sister of Ann, will be the head coach of that school's team.
Jedlow looking for Quigley, a little high. She couldn't get her head on it, and the ball comes back out outside of the penalty area and headed back up to midfield. The Saints trying to turn in their direction and get something going, and it's going to be a race to the ball, and it's going to be won by Elise Nikonchuk, who has had a pretty marvelous game so far tonight.
Only a freshman in a position that takes on a lot of responsibility. She's actually a forward that was converted into a sweeper spot. Last year, Kristen Jedlow was the sweeper. Kristen's only about 5'3". Elise has a few more inches that allows her to get to balls higher in the air.
One storyline we haven't been able to develop, Ed, is the height of the two best players, Ann Poulin and Patrice Fulner. For St. Charles, they're both 5'10". They're big players and fast, and that's one of the reasons why they're both heading for Arizona State next year. And we're into that part of the game now where it seems the chances have been few and far between, but Fulner looked like she might have had a little bit of an opportunity, couldn't get to it. Tough angle on that shot, and Black again, so far, has handled the ball very well. Has not had a difficult chance, but still has handled it well. Bit of a miscue there, though.
St. Charles are sending some dangerous balls in from the flank, some driven balls that are forcing the defense and the keeper to make some plays. Here's another one.
Fulner crosses, headed, and Black is going to come up with that one.
Another dangerous ball from the flank.
Well, you better watch it when Fulner crosses because she's the all-time assist leader at St. Charles. Banakis sends it forward, but nothing but red shirts around. Here's Quigley. Sends it across the midfield stripe. This is Kim Jedlow trying to regroup and find some room to operate.
Who is that pass to right there? That's something that we talk about, the keys of the game: possession, pass, and move, and they're not getting much of that out of the midfield for Lincoln Way. We talk about gutty efforts tonight. Number 15, Patrice Fulner, is putting on one all day today.
Right, 102 temperature, and she has played very, very well. And the whistle away from the ball, and again, we will get a throw-in for Lincoln Way. Last time we saw this, Jedlow tried to get it to Quigley for a header, and it was a little tall. See what they try this time.
Now this is going to be a kick, it appears, the way that Kim is setting the ball down.
Good catch.
Conference with their coaches over there.
Kristen Jedlow heading toward the net. Quigley trying to get in position. And the St. Charles Saints were all over that one. Now they have a chance to break it out. St. Charles have all sorts of people moving up the field. Getting there first is going to be Lisa Himrod, but she couldn't track it down before it rolls over the sideline. Oh, critical call. They ruled that it was last touched by one of the Knights.
And I think that was a good call. The assistant referee on the near side had it Lincoln Way's direction, but Steve Davidson saw the deflection and changed it the other way.
Jim Blaney, Ed Vucinich with you from Naperville Central High School. Game tied at 1, 30 minutes left in the second half. This is the 2000 IHSA Girls Championship between Lincoln Way and St. Charles. The Saints trying to win their 5th straight state title. Center of the field, and you see the height differences. Kim Jedlow was going after the ball with Fulner. Jedlow, of course, one of the 5'7" for Lincoln Way for their forwards, and Fulner, as we mentioned, just a couple of ticks under 6 feet tall. This is Ridgeway. Sends it back, ball moved toward the penalty area, headed high into the air. And Fulner trying to wait for it to come down, came up with it. Fulner thought she might head for the net, but did not. And it's going to be kicked out of bounds and out of harm's way by Elise Nikonchuk.
Well, that's a big play by Nikonchuk because Becca Topke had problems getting that ball. Topke had problems getting that ball out on the heading situation.
Sent toward the net. Black waits very calmly and handles it easily. Lisa Himmerod with the shot. St. Charles just piling up the shots. Lincoln Way not getting very many chances, but yet we still are tied at 1-1. Bartkus fighting for the ball, lost it. Ridgeway couldn't get to it. Jedlow made a nice play. Kim Jedlow at midfield, has some room to operate. Has Quigley on her left. Quigley now with the ball. Quigley being marked by Poulin. That's back to Denise Papke, and she has it taken away. Lincoln Way still in possession. Quigley goes after it, headed it, and Kristen Jedlow has it now. Jedlow had it knocked away, and Bartkus couldn't get to it. Ridgeway had it on her foot for a moment. The Lincoln Way Knights put it back into the St. Charles half of the field. And now St. Charles decides to put it in deep and try and chase after it. 18 shots, I should say, for St. Charles so far. Just 2 for Lincoln Way. And now a corner kick for St. Charles. And they scored a goal off this yesterday in the quarterfinals. So they are very, very dangerous for this. Patrice Fulner will take the corner kick.
Let's see what St. Charles has in store as they line up 5 just inside the penalty area. They break out and Fulner will put it to the near post.
And a chest save! Wow! Blackwell couldn't fight her way to the ball, and there was a chest save made by one of the Knights right on the goal line. That may have been the key save of the game, was Becca Topke.
Indeed. Yep, that's the one that saved the day for the moment.
What a spectacular play.
The flick on the head ball by Poulin. Becca was right there. That's why you put somebody at the post. And when you got traffic in front of the goal, it makes it very tough for the keeper. And a lot of flighted balls are coming in for Kim Black and the Lincoln Way defense to handle.
But Kim Black had a battle to get to the ball, couldn't get there. Now, from the other side of the field, a corner kick for Fulner, and the crowd in front of us all standing up. They know what this means many times for St. Charles, as Fulner will try it again.
Again, St. Charles creating traffic. Big stab.
Wonderful save by Black. Well, you know what? She's done okay so far.
She has. And every time she makes a catch, the confidence just grows a little more.
Well, and the thing, too, is her teammates get confident in her, too, and that's almost more important.
Exactly.
Bartkus at midfield couldn't control. Both teams battling for possession right now. Topke, who made the key save just a moment ago. Sent toward the net. Jedlow got to it, and Poulin is just going to get it out of harm's way. High in the air, Lulu trying to get to it. Quigley couldn't quite get there. And now teams, you know, it's getting to the point of the game where teams aren't messing around if it's in front of their own net. They're just getting it out of there. Fulner was aggressive enough offensively to get the ball on a throw-in now for St. Charles.
Now on the field for the Saints.
I think Joe Moreau has to like what he sees when you consider the goals haven't come, but the pressure is there, and Ryan Papa is just wondering if his girls can gut this out and steal one somehow.
25 minutes to go here in the second half. Himrod sent it to the middle of the field, but coming up with it is Lindsay Soderberg. Soderberg along the sideline, and the Knights wanted to send it forward into the St. Charles end, but it ends up going over the sideline. We're going to take a quick timeout. 1-1 in the state title game. Jim Blaney, Edward Sinich back with you from Naperville Central High School. It's 25 minutes exactly remaining in the second half. Lincoln Way and St. Charles tied at 1. And Kim Black, the substitute goaltender in for the injured Emelina Konchuk, has been marvelous here in the second half. Although she hasn't made all the saves, she had a little help.
Jim, you know, obviously as a backup keeper, and anytime you're a player, you always have to be mentally ready to get into the game. But what do you think the chances of Kim Black getting into this game, and was she really thinking she would get that opportunity?
Well, she has the opportunity. She's made the most of it so far. Ridgway trying to use speed to split the defense. Ridgway turned the corner, crossing past Fulner, couldn't quite get there. Marvelous pass by Ridgway right across the mouth of the goal.
Sure was, and it was a great run. You saw her speed, her vision to split the two defenders and then get a left-footed cross to the far post. And had a Saint been back there, Kim Black was dead to rights. Just a little bit too much pace on it for Beebe to catch at the far post.
I think also a pretty good no call there, because in spite of the fact that Soderberg got the elbow in, that Ridgway still had turned the corner and still had an advantage.
Yep.
Bartkus at midfield puts it ahead, and Ann Poulin's going to clean that up.
Great ball.
Poulin back to midfield, sends it ahead, and moving up the left side now is Stephanie Saab. And
offside flag was up, but a great ball out of the back by Ann Poulin to spot Saab making the run here on the left wing in the midfield. And the play forward just wasn't timed well.
Getting into how should I say, a little nervous time here as we work along in this game. Denise Patney taken down, and the ball goes over the sideline. Throw-in for Lincoln Way. Good look at Ann Poulin, what a marvelous player. Kristen Jedlow couldn't get there. And then Fulner made a nice play to block the defender off the ball and comes up with it. Nice tackle. St. Charles will keep possession. Sent ahead, Ridgway tries to chase it down. Pass wasn't accurate enough for her to get there. And the St. Charles Saints, you know, they go through a spurt where they look like they're about to take control of this game, Ed, but Lincoln Way always seems to get that one person they need back in position to make the play.
Well, they've got great defensive support right now, but the one thing that Lincoln Way has to be aware of is a lot of their defenders are starting to dive in now and going aggressively for slide tackles. And you know what? At certain stages when you absolutely have to make that play, you can do that. But if you dive in the midfield and get beat, then St. Charles has eliminated a defender, and they've got numbers going to goal. So right now, Lincoln Way has been successful in making those tackles, but the forwards and the midfielders of St. Charles are good enough technically with the ball to make a move, eliminate a sliding defender, and then they're off to goal.
Back into the Lincoln Way end of the field we go. Coming up with it is Lindsay Soderberg. Passed it off to Ashley Nussbaum. And a couple of players hit the deck, and the advantage goes to St. Charles.
The one thing that Lincoln Way has started to try and do over the last 5 minutes or so is to put some passes together moving out of the back. And that's a good sign. But you know what? Their work rate has to be better off the ball.
Shannon McBride probably looking for Fulner or for Ridgway. He's looking for Ridgway. The net is open. It is wide open, and
dangerous
the
play
Saints
call.
can't convert.
Kim Black went out aggressively after that and was unable to get that, and you called it. The net was unkept except for a few red shirts. Watch this. She went out to make the play, didn't get the ball. There's Ann Poulin, but great work defense. Look at how many red shirts were in the goal mouth there. And the dangerous play is the foot got up high. Steve Davidson on the call.
Yeah, Fulner had 3 red shirts around her as she made the attempt. And again, Beebe with the ball as St. Charles on the march again. Fulner knocks it down, knocked it out of the penalty area. Now Lincoln Way with a little bit of room to operate here as they can move it up the field. And again, Lincoln Way moves it up the field, but they get across the midfield line and they really didn't know where to go with it. Bartkus at midfield gives to Quigley.
See, look at the patience and composure of Quigley there. She took a couple of touches, looked up, saw what was happening, and played a ball to a teammate.
Ridgway took it away, but Soderberg knocked her off the ball. Fine defensive play. Here come the Knights again. And Poulin is going to get to this one. What a great job of keeping it in and put it right on the money for Fulner.
Handball. The ball had a little spin on it and it snuck up on Patrice.
Lincoln Way moving it quickly chasing after it, but Lexi Stormo is there to get to the ball before Quigley got a chance. Under 20 minutes now remaining second half.
Kind of a subtle psychology that might be happening here, and it happens sometimes when a team gets a red card and loses a player. That team down a player sometimes picks up their level of play to compensate for the loss of the player. On the other end, the team playing with numbers up, sometimes they think it's going to be a little bit easier because they're playing with a number up and they don't go as aggressively. So there's another look at Emily Nikonchuk, who is just trying to get the pain out of that knee.
And Poulin in midfield sends it toward the net. Black, you know what? That was pretty cool. She was very calm about that, and you had a feeling Poulin might try that.
But what a smart play by Ann Poulin.
Exactly. Make a goaltender who hasn't played all year long, make her handle the ball. Because on the theory that maybe she doesn't handle that clean, you get a chance out of it.
Well, that was the theory in the semifinal game. A 1-0 win for St. Charles over Barrington. And Poulin said after the game, you know what, we really didn't test their goalkeeper all that much. As you take a look at how physical this game is getting, Kristen Jedlow was going to get to that ball one way or another, whether she had to roll over somebody. She did, and she was called for the foul.
And Shannon McBride, a little extra shot as they were getting up. This is McBride with the ball right now. McBride sent it ahead, and the Knights, well, they've been good defensively. Barkus with a nice move to retain possession. And that will be off St. Charles, throw in for Lincoln Way.
Jim, that was another situation where Barkus, with the composure of making the collection of the ball, taking a touch, looking up, and not just getting it and whacking it.
And number 5, Kim Jedlow.
Lexi Stormo, she's only seen 2 shots on. She stopped one of them.
Lulu quickly out of the game.
18 minutes left second half. St. Charles and Lincoln Way still tied at 1. And that appeared and did indeed go off number 13 for St. Charles, Deborah Banakis. Lulu Quigley comes out. Got to get her a little bit of rest. She's been in there ever since the middle part of the first half, and she is playing on a bad ankle.
Quigley came to the United States from Guam and in search of a better education, and she will continue her education at Creighton next year.
And was ruled ineligible last year, and I think that's one of the reasons why we are seeing her play in this game tonight, is because she did start the season last year. She was ruled ineligible by the IHSA and had to sit and watch her team lose the state title chance last year against St. Charles, and one of the reasons why I think you're seeing her play in this game, she didn't want to sit and watch this year.
We can spend a whole show talking about that situation with Quigley and why she didn't play last year, but she is here this year.
Throw in for Lincoln Way up the sideline, and loose ball comes out to Kim Jedlow. Jedlow looking for a little help. Will she get on the backside? Headed toward the net and then out by Poulin.
That was a great ball to the back post.
Back out to midfield. St. Charles defenders moving up just a little bit to try and force the action, but St. Charles not able to take advantage of it, and now maybe a break for Lincoln Way.
Barkus in the middle there, throwing her body all over the place. That is her trademark.
Becca Topke looking in on Lexi Stormo. And now Topke moves away, and instead it is going to be Elise Nikonchuk. Nikonchuk fires, and that one well wide.
Well, here's a chance where Lincoln Way for the last minute or two has had a little bit of the ball, has had a chance to get forward a little bit. And if you're Brian Papa and the Knights, you're looking to steal one right now.
15:55 and a little bit less than that now remaining here in the second half. We're still tied at 1. St. Charles and Lincoln Way. St. Charles going for their 5th straight state championship. Lincoln Way trying to avenge last year's loss in the title game.
What a turn.
Kim Jedlow trying to turn it on. Heading toward the net. Jedlow bumped off the ball, now stays with it. Wanted to drop it back to her sister, but it didn't get there. And now the St. Charles Saints trying to counter. Fulner is going to have to chase this one down, but will not win the race. Up the sideline, and it is going to be a throw-in for St. Charles. Fulner, a 102 temperature, but a tie game, and she's not coming out. It's, you know, it's one of those things that for anybody who's ever played.
Watch that
like
turn.
That, go ahead.
Turn on Kim Jedlow and Katie Conway getting in there. That's something, Jim, I wish we get a chance to see more of, that confrontation between those two very quick and very technically gifted players.
Headed over the sideline, throwing for St. Charles. My point about Fulner is this. She's probably okay as long as she keeps running.
Yeah.
If she stops and sits down, that's when she's going to run into a problem.
That's a smart foul taken by Lindsay Soderberg there. Just a bump, get the whistle, allow her teammates to get back in behind the ball. She's very good at using her body and her throwing her shoulder in. She and her sister will go to ISU, Illinois State, next year, and they're not going to play soccer. They're going to take a year off.
McBride into the penalty area, header toward the net, and another save made. And what is developing into a wonderful story for Kim Black.
What athletic ability for Ann Poole. And it was just so graceful in the air, and she got a strong and powerful shot toward goal.
Emily Nakonchuk, and what's worse now is she has to sit there and watch.
Yep.
Taken down to the goal line, put back into the penalty area. About 5 red shirts there waiting for it. Up the sideline, Kim Jedlow turning on the speed, but Ann Poulin, she's 5'10", and she can move too. Headed at midfield.
Possession, there we go.
You know, St. Charles has really played a marvelous game so far, but they just have not been able to get that second goal. And for Lincoln Way, you almost get the feeling that the confidence builds a little bit in spite of all the injuries. The longer it stays 1-1, and the more Black steps up, and the more Lulu Quigley is able to play.
There's no question about that. And when you've got some dangerous players like Kim and Kristen Jedlow up there, and you know, Kim Jedlow can make things happen in the blink of an eye.
Saints come up with possession, but taking it away is Becca Topke. Topke knocked down, and knocked down hard.
Now here's a set piece. Get it into a situation where you can get one on goal and beat the defense. Watch the foul here. She got it from both sides. She tried to split two. That's a great cut of the ball, but the Saints were not allowing her to get through with the ball. It was either the ball or the player, and the ball was the one that made it through.
Ann Bernard is very, very fortunate, because as we take another look at the replay, you will see that she's had her left leg out trying to play the ball. She had it planted in the ground, and her leg was locked. And watch this. This was almost very, very serious. Watch this. Look at her left leg. Locked, planted in the ground. And that was very close to her being down the field as well. But right now they're tending to Becca Topke, and the clock is stopped.
Actually, Becca, I was wondering what happened and why she was injured, but it appears she hit her face on the ground after because you know when there's tackles like that, your first look is ankle, knee, what happened. But I don't think she hurt herself there. It was a force of her face hitting the ground after she lost the ball and got crunched.
Well, for those of you who may be under the mistaken impression that this is not a physical sport, I would hope that having watched this game so far would cure you of that opinion, because this has been a physical battle.
You said it right there, and we can talk all along about the injuries that how many times have we seen Emily Nakonchuk today who's gutted out, Lulu Quigley playing. She had ice all over her body after the semifinal game. Patrice Fulner throwing up from last night to this morning, still going out and playing and sleeping all day to come out here and play. These girls have just laid it out there, and it's a 1-1 game with just under 13 minutes to play in regulation.
Good look at Fulner, and she is, you know, and we talked about it, she's probably okay as long as she keeps running. You wonder how this stop in the action might affect her.
Well, we'll see. every chance she gets, she's leaning over, the hands on the knees. You know, one aspect of what's happened in this game that we haven't talked about, Jim, is what Lexi Stormo has to go through as a goalkeeper, not seeing a lot of action. You know,
right.
Sometimes not getting action is just as tough as if you're being peppered. In fact, tougher sometimes. You'd rather be active and be in the game. Then it becomes a mental battle to keep yourself sharp while the ball's down at the other end of the field all the time.
And Lexi Stormo has been a pretty lonely individual for most of the game. Let's take a look at our Taco Bell game summary while we have the opportunity. The first goal of the game came about 3.5 minutes in off Denise Papke. Wonderful play. Put it away and gave Lincoln Way a 1-0 lead. Then Ann Poulin with, I don't care what level of soccer you're talking about, you're not going to see a better goal than that one for a long, long time.
I agree wholeheartedly. And like you said, I think she knew from the time she struck it, it was going in. Just the look of her eyes and the look up and to put it upper window in the V is amazing. And Becca is hurting there.
And Becca Topke has been down on the field for at least 3 or 4 minutes now. And the thing is, if Ed, you are correct, and she did indeed, the major part of the injury when she hit her face in the turf, they're going to make sure she stays there for a while before they can try and move her. And they're more or less just telling her, just take it easy. And they are going to help her off the field.
They're bringing the golf cart out.
And this is another big loss for Lincoln Way because Topke's been very, very good in this game so far. And remember, she had what may turn out to be the key play of the entire game off the corner kick when the ball got away. She made the chest save and kept the ball out of the net when St. Charles was swarming off of that corner kick.
It's a great point. In fact, that was something that I was going to bring up is should Lincoln Way go on and be able to pull this one out, they're going to look back at that play that Becca made at the far post on that corner kick is what turned it around. And indeed, additionally to that, the effort that the defense of Lincoln Way has put together.
1-1 in the state championship game, 12:42 remaining in the second half. We're going to step aside for a quick timeout on Fox Sports Net. Becca Topke being taken off the field for the Lincoln Way Knights, and she was injured just moments ago, and here's another look at it, and they were checking her head. You know what, Ed, you're right.
Yep.
She hit the side of her head right into the turf, and the field here is in marvelous condition at Memorial Stadium here in Naperville, but it's still, you can be seriously injured, and we hope Topke is okay. We hope they are just doing what they normally do, just take precaution. Here's the kick, and that one, well, it hit the upright, but not the right one.
Kristen Jedlow laid into that. Had she gotten it on frame, that could have been trouble for Lexi Stormo. And she's thinking about that. I got to get that on frame, she says. Oh, did she whack that?
Lulu Quigley is back into the game for Lincoln Way. So we are down to the final 12 minutes of regulation in this state championship game. Bartkus with the header. Trying to get there first was Papke, couldn't quite get there. And Poulin, though, is waiting just in case anything got through. And the little battles now are the ones that are going to determine what happens. There was just an example of no chance taken by Katie Conway. She took it out of bounds. Would rather take the throw and then leave something to chance. Lincoln Way all of a sudden has started to spend a lot of time in the St. Charles end of the field. But the Saints are so explosive and they can turn it around so quickly that you almost get the impression that Lincoln Way has to be careful not to be lulled to sleep if the ball spends a lot of time in the St. Charles end of the field.
Without a doubt, that's the danger. And let's watch Jedlow go after Poulin here, although Poulin will get it first. Jim, something we talked about before the game was playing for your teammates. And this is what sports is all about. And this is what being a part of a team is about. These girls in Lincoln Way, they're playing, they'll never forget this experience.
And they have a chance of winning a state championship. Cross was off the mark. Poulin got away with a little bit of a shove. And here's Jedlow again. Jedlow had it taken away, but it ended up going right to one of her teammates. The battles are just getting intense, and that is going to be a call that works against the Lincoln Way Knights.
Shelley Soderberg the Soderberg twins don't mess around when they go in on a 50-50 balls. You're going to know that you've met that family.
Somewhat surprised there wasn't a call there. Fulmer comes away with it. Fulmer heading into the penalty area. She's going to have to beat 2 Knights, and away from the ball we had a little bit of a shove, and Lindsay Soderberg is the guilty party.
She didn't want to take a chance that Fulner was going to get to the end line, and actually I think the last touch might have taken Fulner away, but Soderberg wasn't going to take that chance as she just lays the shoulder and the hip in. You know what, Patrice might have caught up to that ball.
Shannon McBride puts it in front, looking for the header. I don't think she put the ball exactly where she wanted to, and cleared out nicely for the time being by the Knights. St. Charles trying to keep the heat up. That was knocked away by Kim Jedlow. Kim Jedlow working with her sister, trying to move up. Jedlow kept at it, and it's going to come down to McBride. McBride nearly lost it. And the Saints really had to hustle to get it out of their half of the field. It's going to be a throw-in for Lincoln Way. 9:43 left.
Feels like Lincoln Way has a little something going here.
Quigley trying to come away with it. Has 2 Saints right in front of her. The back one is Poulin. Cross. Didn't get there. Was looking for Kim Jedlow.
What a cross of the ball from Quigley there. She really didn't set up with the right foot. It was just a quick flick of the right foot and the power to get it across and in a dangerous position. But she didn't take a lot of time setting that cross up.
And she is kicked. The bad ankle is her right, so she plants and then kicks it with her bad ankle. Or bad foot, excuse me. Kick it with your ankle, it's not going to go very far. Unless you're really good.
Now on the field for the Knights, number 7, Kirsten Jedlow.
Throw in for Lauren Johnston. Puts it in play, and Fulner was the first one to get to it. Kim Jedlow trying to find some room to work with, couldn't find it. Boy, Lincoln Way, the defenders doing a very good job of keeping the ball right now in the St. Charles half of the field. Bartkus throws it ahead for Denise Pappy, puts it into the penalty area, and Lexi Stormo coming out and making a fine play.
Look at the difference in the play of Lincoln Way of late. You know, Jim, when I was talking about it throughout the game of them panicking and just getting the ball upfield, they were under pressure all the time and they were just trying to relieve that pressure. Now they get a few touches on the ball, they get a few chances going forward, and now they're more confident to make those touches and make an extra play.
Well, and to the other thing is, I think with the way Black has played in net, that everybody, especially the defenders, are a little more confident about maybe taking a couple of steps farther up and not worried about getting caught out of position a bit.
Kim Jedlow enjoying a state championship game. You know how intense this game has been, but she still finds some time to have a smile, and you know what? This is fun.
Lindsay Soderberg, who has been marvelous tonight, sent it forward. It went off Ashley Nussbaum. Well, then in one of the Saints touched it, so to throw in for Lincoln Way. Headed by Quigley. And knocked down in midfield by the Saints. And Nussbaum will watch it roll over the sideline. Another throw in for the Knights. Quigley able to knock it down, now trying to go back and get possession, and she does. Quigley right to the center of the field. And now the Saints send it the other way. St. Charles with their best opportunity in a while. Fulmer had to stop and track it down. Left foot. Blackness decided to knock it down. Didn't try to play it, just got in front of it.
Patrice Fulner did a great job of getting that in a position to shoot because the pass was a little bit behind her. Got it in a shot, quick shot off. Kim Black with a big stop.
But pick your poison, because now you've given Fulner a corner kick.
That was going in.
Yep, that's a good shot. Fulner from the corner. Headed out of there by the Knights. And St. Charles will retain possession. Papke gets to the ball on the sideline, sends it ahead, kept it in bounds. Kim Jedlow couldn't quite get to the ball. Getting there first was Katie Conway.
Kim Black is doing her best to get to those balls out, but you can just tell in her body language that she is a bit tentative coming out for balls like that. The experienced keeper, the one confident, they're coming charging,
right,
climbing over everybody in their way. Kim's a little tentative, but she's doing a great job.
Well, the thing is, she didn't get cute with it. She just got in front of it and stopped it, and didn't try to be a hero and gather it in. Instead, just made the save, and then came back and had a little more help on the corner kick.
Well, the dive was perfect, but I'm talking about that cross ball and the corner kick where she's got to make a decision on whether or not she's going to be able to get there and make a play on it.
Shannon McBride for St. Charles. Poulin at the top of the penalty area. McBride sends it forward, headed back out by Lincoln Way. Aggressive play by the Knights. Papke sends it back to midfield. And for the moment, we have a couple of changes of possession. And now the St. Charles Saints going to gather it in. Kim Chadlow gets to the ball. She has gotten almost every ball she's been in a one-on-one battle for. And now the Lincoln Way Knights having their best offensive thrust here in the second half. Chadlow put it forward. Turned toward the net and just wide of the right post by Shelley Soderberg.
Unbelievable chances. Lindsey Griffiths got turned around on that ball, but you called it. It was Kim Jedlow's speed that got them possession and created a chance. That was just a little deflection out front that almost snuck by Lexi Stormer.
5 minutes left in regulation. Toward the sideline, Beebe kept it alive, but Jadlow again, she has been all over the place here in the second half. And this time Lexi Sormo decides to slow things down a little bit and gather it in as we move toward 4.5 left.
I've got to start thinking about the possibility of overtime.
Right.
Played 2 10-minute sudden deaths and still tied after that. Penalty kicks is the answer.
Well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, Ed, but you have to wonder with an inexperienced goaltender, if you do go to the penalty kicks, what's that going to be like?
It's not going to be a picnic for Kim Black.
Let's take another look at Lincoln Way's last chance. This was their best chance of the second half.
Griffiths got turned around. They're wrong-footed just a bit, and the deflection out front by Lincoln Way almost snuck in at the back stick.
We should point out that Angela Ridgway is back in the game for St. Charles. Gives a little more speed to the Saints. She has been very effective in the game so far. Here come the Knights again. Kristen Jadlow. And we get a whistle.
I think they're going to call it dangerous play, even though Conway got to the ball. Her foot was in the air, and you don't have to get it that high to get it in Kim Jedlow's face. So maybe the dangerous play was called, and we've got it. If it was a dangerous play, it's indirect. But I don't think this is an indirect kick, so it couldn't have been a dangerous play. Maybe just a foul. She's been hot, Denise Papke.
Has the lone goal of the game for Lincoln Way. Papke takes the shot, was hunting for just underneath the crossbar. A little too much air.
See, they can't waste chances like that where you don't even get it on frame. I mean, you have to make that ball be inside the white and force Stormo to make some type of save.
Back to midfield, Fulner. Fulner has it, and Fulner has some room to operate. Fulner's going to have to go to the left foot. Fulner beats Black. Fulner scores! St. Charles leads 2-1. 2:43 remaining.
That is a classy finish from Patrice Fulner. She found enough in her to sprint onto a ball between 2 defenders, and then the composure to get it to her right foot and send it back against the grain. That was, and you talked about it earlier, about Lincoln Way moving forward, feeling more confident and being susceptible to something that happens behind their defense.
Still 2:39 remaining. Quigley sends it forward. Lincoln Way now, for the first time in this game, playing from behind. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue this, but I'll tell you what, there was another pretty good athlete a couple of years ago that played with a fever and did okay too.
You know what, I was thinking about that.
And Patrice Fulner, 102 temperature, has the flu, has played this entire game. And right now has the goal that could very well lead St. Charles to a state championship. Alula Quigley is going to have something to say about that right now. Quigley sends it into the wall, and it's cleared away by Poulin. 2 minutes remaining.
Good strike from Quigley. She made sure she stayed over that one. It got deflected in on the way. It deflected wide of the goal, but things can happen when you get it down and make people make a play.
The Knights have to press.
Yes, they do.
And they have to try any way they can now to just get the ball toward the net. Here's another look at Fulner's goal.
Watch the burst of speed, holds off a defender, composed touch past the keeper, and then bangs it into the open goal.
I said she'd have to go to the left foot. Once she got black down and out, she knew she had time. And by stopping, she got rid of the defender. So a very, very heads-up goal. Instead of panicking, I don't want to say panic, but instead of rushing and kicking it with the left foot, she takes her time and makes sure she puts her team in the lead.
Now she's scored over 80 goals in her Saint career.
Now in the game for the Saints, number 14, Stephanie Stahl.
1:11 left. Here come the Saints again. Fulner with the ball once again, looking to cross, has 3 people on top of her. Instead played it back. We are now into the final minute. 2-1, St. Charles leading Lincoln Way. And here comes Jadlow. Jadlow is in. Kim Jadlow. Wonderful defense from the side by the St. Charles Saints. And then Stormo went out and got a hand on the ball as it goes over the end line.
The play was made there, I think, by Kristen Zoli, who sacrificed her body against Kim Jedlow. I think it was number 18. Shannon McBride comes up empty. Kim Jedlow going in hard, and I think that was Zoli who stepped in and made the big tackle because Kim was bound and determined to get that one home.
Black racing out to meet the ball and does. And you saw Kim Jadlow, I'll tell you what, the tank isn't empty, but it's only fumes left now. Closing seconds. The St. Charles Saints, for the 5th year in a row, they win the IHSA Girls State Soccer Championship, and it will be the last one for St. Charles, as next year, St. Charles High School becomes St. Charles East.
They waited until the final moments to put this one away. Patrice Fulner with the goal that wins it. Lincoln Way Knights had absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. And it's tough for Emily Nikonchuk to handle right now. I mean, can't play the second half and a chance to win a state championship, but I don't think there is anything that Lincoln Way left inside themselves.
Kim Black, nothing to be ashamed of. The game-winning goal scored by an all-stater. 2-1 our final score. St. Charles a winner over Lincoln Way. We are back with more from Naperville Central after this timeout. St. Charles, once again, state champions in girls soccer after beating Lincoln Way 2-1. Our Pepsi moment, it's pretty obvious. It's the game-winning goal that was scored with just a little over 2 minutes remaining off of a goal kick. The Lincoln Way Knights couldn't track it down, and it goes to an all-stater.
Patrice Fulner just ran straight at Elise Nikonchuk, shedded a defender there, the touch past the keeper, and then got around it and made sure she fired it right into the center of the goal. That is a classy finish, a burst of speed from somebody who has not felt well, to say the least, struggling with a 102-degree fever. It's just a classy finish right there at a key moment in the game.
I would bet Patrice Fulner is feeling pretty good right now. And that's what happens when you get to go out as a state champion. How about that? Knows nothing other than being a state champion in high school. Not too many people in any sport in any place in the country get to say that. I'm Jim Blaney, and for our producer Bob Albrecht and my partner Ed Vucinich, we're saying so long from Naperville Central High School with a final score. 2-1, St. Charles a winner over Lincoln Way. Congratulations to the Saints, state champions once again. You've been watching the IHSA Championships on Fox Sports Net.